I'm sitting here with Nicole. She's going to introduce herself and tell us a little bit of her story today.
Hi, my name is Nicole. I'm here today protesting for my right as a parent for my children. The Children's Aid Society of Algoma apprehended my children on July 11th, 2014. They had no right to come and take my children. My oldest son was sexually abused in 2004, and I reported it to the police, to CAS and the doctor.
Loud truck going by.
Yeah, the police didn't even question the pedophile. I found out he was previously charged, say like 30 years prior to this date. He had a sexual assault record and stuff like that. So years went by. I did the right thing. I reported it. In 2010, I found out my oldest two boys were sexually active, and it was really alarming and concerning.
Mm-hmm.
I had at the time, right now my children are 13, 11, 7, and 6, and I just did the right thing. I reached out for help to Algoma Family Services, the Sexual Assault Center, the doctors, psychiatrists, psychologists, Children's Aid repeatedly. Anytime I would report the behaviors to somebody new, like a teacher or a school, for my youngest two boys, because, I was concerned as a mom. I wanted to notify the teachers if they noticed anything alarming. Mm-hmm. They would report to CAS. CAS would open a file. They would come and investigate, close the file, because we were doing the right thing. We were notifying the teachers, everything. In 3.5 years, I have 5 open and closed case files with CAS. Finally, when my oldest son turned 12, I had prevented the behaviors. In 2012, I started homeschooling my oldest boys, but my oldest two boys would be like, "Mommy, if I have a chance, I'm going to do it." So I knew my oldest was turning 12, and if he did it again, I would have to press charges or involve the police. So I once again, 4 years of reaching out for help, demanded this time, my children absolutely need help. They tried to deny ever refusing to give us services. I told them to check their records. They all apologized. So sorry for your family slipping through the cracks, dropping the ball, all that. So through Algoma Family Services, we found this place in Oakville, Ontario. I went down there to the Oakville Trauma Center, Radius report, and we went down there, and the boys reported behavior, what they have done. I went down there and told basically my whole life story, all 4 of my pregnancies. My first son, his father was abusive. I terminated that relationship. I got full custody of my child. So when I went to Oakville, I had to explain everything throughout all my pregnancies. But when they reported domestic violence, they reported everything as current. So my oldest son's father was an alcoholic, was a drug addict, was highly abusive to not only myself but my son. And when it got reported, it was all current information, and I was with my fiance for about 12.5 years at this time. So the society came in May 2014, and I said, "Listen, if you don't have any services, I'm not cooperating." I said, "If you have counseling or services or anything to offer my family, then sure, but if you're just going to distract my parenting or, waste my time, then it was a waste of both of our times. There's families out there that actually need your services. If you can't help me, there's no reason for it." And in July 11th, 2014, they came with 8 police officers and 3 CS workers to apprehend my children. And I was very upset, and it was really devastating time. My fiance, he was very calm and cooperative, and just begging and pleading with the officers not to do this to our family. He explained the whole situation. I was really upset, threatening to sue them, this isn't right. And we just did what we had to do, or else there would have been further consequences. We had to let them take our children. 7 days later, they falsely accused my fiance of threatening and harassment, had him arrested. The society, Children's Aid, tried to have him charged with domestic violence against myself, and that was going to end the relationship. And never once has my fiance ever hit me. We've been together for 12.5 years. He's never been.
So there's no domestic violence?
No domestic violence at all whatsoever. No documentation of it. No doctors. No police reports. Nothing. And when they got up to the police station with my fiance, they couldn't actually press the charge of domestic violence because it was the society pressing the charges, not myself. So all the way up there, oh, you're never going to see your wife again, you're never going to go back home, but they couldn't press those charges. So they did charge him with false threatening and harassment charges. The CAS workers lied and said he had a knife, but meanwhile there's 8 officers that say he was calm and cooperative, and there was no reason.
So since July, the kids have been out of the home?
Yeah.
Out of your home. And I'm sure your heart must be aching.
Oh, it is. Like, it's just devastating, and it just traumatizes your whole family, and to see your kids suffer through this, it's just heartbreaking. We actually got, myself and my fiance, in September 2014, we got sleepovers, like overnights, unsupervised visits. The judge ordered in December a second overnight per week, plus gave us 2 overnights in a row at Christmas time. For 5 months, no issues with the unsupervised visits, nothing. 10 days before our custody hearing, they took away our sleepovers. Just like that was the next step, was returning the children home after, sleepovers. So, and it's just devastating. They just make stuff up. I've done everything they've asked, done parenting courses, 5 triple P certificates, both me and my fiance did everything
that they wanted you to
and
do.
More, plus more doctor's letters, but it doesn't matter. They just say one thing and the courts follow it.
So what's your involvement now with the children? When do you get to see your own children?
I got to see my oldest 2 boys a few days after they took them in July 2014. And then they made me wait 7 months until March 3rd, 2014 before they even let me see my oldest 2 boys.
Did you even get to call your boys on the phone?
I was able to, not for a month, I wasn't able to call them, no contact. About August, I was able to start getting phone calls. And from basically September until November, I was able to call my oldest boys every day. All of a sudden, they cut off my phone calls. My oldest boy was asking when I could go down there and like really upset, so I just said, like, one day it's going to be up to the judge, it's not going to be up to the workers, and then we could see you. And they canceled my phone calls. My phone calls, I didn't think it was an issue because the foster parent here with my youngest 2 children, 5 and 6 at the time, were saying it's up to the judge, it's not up to CAS, right? So why wasn't I allowed to tell my 12 almost 13-year-old child when he asked?
So when you were on the phone with your boys at the time, and I'm trying to get a view from the child's perspective, the child wanting to be with the mother, longing the mother, what were your conversations at that time? Were they crying on the phone with you? Like, were they asking when do they get to come home? Were they talking about their daily activities?
Always. Like, I would ask them how they were doing, how they were feeling, what they were eating, just like my second oldest son had health conditions, like he was born in Toronto, had intestinal surgeries, had asthma, had allergies, so constantly just questioning them how they're feeling and how they're doing. My oldest son would just cry, I want to come home, I really want to come home. My second oldest was more, he understood that he couldn't come home, so he would talk about when he gets to come home more so, but my oldest son was just like, I want to come home, I really miss you, I want to come home to my family. This is society submitted to the courts that not once did my oldest children ever say that they want to come home. And I have the recordings still at home to this day, and it's just really sad. Like, we just miss each other. And
so they're living in Oakville, or I'm sorry, where are they? Consequence. Are they in a group home there, or are they in a foster house?
They're in a treatment facility because I was trying to get my oldest 2 boys help. But what happened is when they sent them to Bayfield treatment centers, that's where they are. I was grateful, like, in a sense that maybe they would start getting help for the sexualized behavior, but the society lied to Bayfield, basically saying I made up the behavior to get attention, and I got munchins by proxy, like all this stuff between Bayfield clinicians that have never met me in person, and the society. Like, Bayfield could only report what they're being reported
to. So can you call Bayfield Clinic and ask them how your children are doing in their clinic?
They don't want no contact with me
whatsoever.
They're saying that I'm mentally ill, so they don't want any contact with me. And it's just really sad because I'm the one that tried to get my boys treatment. I'm the one that wanted to get them help. If
you want the best for these.
Nobody would even know that there was an issue. And I want to be a part of my boys' treatment because they're my children and I have a right. They won't even give me documentation of their plan of care and their treatment plan.
And those two boys, can you remind me of their ages again?
13 and 11.
13 and 11, okay. The two youngest boys, where are the two youngest boys for today?
They're in foster care here in Sault Ste. Marie with one of the best foster homes, so I'm grateful for that. They got to stay together, so that's rare that the siblings actually get to stay together, so I was grateful for that. It is one of the best foster homes. Sure, it's not like I would be a better parent, like I have a lot of issues that I take, but I'm just grateful that they're not in like a violent, foster home.
And when do you see your children?
Well, I was getting those two overnight, for those 5 months when they took away my sleepovers. I wasn't allowed to see them for 10 days, so we went from seeing them twice a week to like 10 days of no contact. And then they started letting us see it every Friday at the Access Center. So we went from home visits. The boys would say, "This sucks, like I don't like it here, this is stupid, I just want to go home, I want it like before." And it's just a process, and you can't really talk to your children about it. You just have to explain the best you can and watch your wording, because if you say the wrong thing, the society just uses it against you. You can't be honest and just briefly tell them the truth. Right now, in July, they made me leave my fiance after all these years of fighting really hard.
How long have you and your fiance been together?
12 and a half years.
12 and a half years.
Yeah.
And how old are you, Nicole?
I'm 30. I'll be 31 in November.
Okay, since you were late teen, this is like the love of your life, right? Right.
So it's just really sad, and there's no reason to just separate us. The thing is that Jeremy is really honest. You're abusing the children by keeping them in care. You're traumatizing the children. The society doesn't like that. If you don't lose your attitude, you're not going to get your kids back. Well, what is attitude? Is that really a protection concern? It's not. So I've been separated from him since July 20th. My worker said if I left Jeremy, I'll get the kids back tomorrow. Well, here we are, September 1st. Tomorrow never came, and I'm just doing everything in my power.
And you miss Jeremy. You wish your relationship probably hadn't been torn. No.
Like I have a support worker that's an independent contractor. He is being funded by CAS to train me to be a mom. He doesn't have no kids of his own. Society said I needed to be trained dusk till dawn. I have no parenting ability, and it, all the records before the kids were taken, I feel are very important, because those are the ones, for 12 and a half years, all their immunizations were up to date. They never missed a dental appointment. The school never had concerns. If they did, it was because I was the one bringing things to the attention, and it's just we did everything right. Right now, I got my boys 3 times a week for 4 hours a day, so 12 hours. But I have this guy come and sit in my home with me and observe me be a parent. And my son said to me yesterday, because the society was supposed to go on strike today, that's why I'm out here.
Okay.
And my 7-year-old says to me yesterday, "Mommy, what do you think is right, keeping families together or CAS taking away our visits?" And I was like, well, the right answer is keeping families together, but it's so sad that they literally divided our whole family, and they're trying to conquer us because, they separated us from our children. Now they
separated the parents
us from each other, and it's it never ends. No matter what we did, it wasn't enough. We cooperated, signed all the consents, did everything that was asked of us plus more, and it's still never enough.
Exactly. And when we go back to the Jeremy being angry, I think that's an emotion of every parent, every man. Men tend to get more angry than women, and that's just a human emotion. You take someone's children, and it breaks their heart. Mom, dad.
We have every right to, our emotions. We have every right to be as frustrated as we can, When they came to take the kids, I was the one yelling and screaming and threatening to sue them. Jeremy was really calm and cooperative. Just calm down, Nicole. They charged him with threatening and harassment. If anything, they could have maybe charged me because I was threatening and continually, repeatedly, telling them off. Leave our family alone. And it's absolutely just traumatizing and brutal every day that goes by.
Every day. Do you have any final remarks that you'd like to put on tape just about the society in general and the family law institution?
Well, I really feel that there should be children's aid for the homes that are domestic violence and, drug addiction and alcohol abuse. But they need to stop taking children away from good parents. Parents that dedicate their whole life to their children are put above all else, while taking care of healthy, happy children, and they need to stop just coming and taking the children. Like, keep an open file if you feel it's necessary. Investigate. There's no reason to just take people's children that are just seeking help, for certain behaviors that are concerning. And if they were going to take the oldest two boys and actually give them treatment, not say, oh, I made it all up, maybe that would have been a positive thing, but they're not getting treatment, and there was no reason to ever take my youngest two boys, like, at all.
Well, I think it's hurting the whole family, and I'm sure your boys just want to hug their mama and get back home. And I'm hoping we can work out a solution, whoever sees this video or whatever CAS agent sees this, we can work out a solution to get those boys back to their family, and we can stop this berating of destroying families.
Yeah. Well, I pray every night, and I just hope for the best, and that's what keeps me so strong. Like, it's so easy to just, like, roll over and go and cry in my bed, but that's not going to help. That's not going to get my boys home. So I'm staying strong for them, and I'm doing what I got to do, and that's all that I can do.
That's all that you can do.
Staying
Good.
strong.
Thanks, Nicole.
Okay, thank you for your time.